So, welcome to our first panel presentation on volunteering for the Toronto Field Naturalists. And we're going to hear from leaders from the various groups. These are the groups and the people. And they're going to do a brief introduction to their area and what types of volunteers they need. And they will also answer questions. So, first up is Jason.
Great, thanks, Lynn. You can advance to the next slide. So when most people hear the word stewardship, they immediately think of, people planting trees, shrubs, and wildflowers, removing invasive species, cleaning up trash, and absolutely getting our hands dirty, helping nature has been one of the core activities for our stewardship team since our first planting event, which was back in 1935. Today, our volunteer stewards lead a City of Toronto community stewardship program site at Cottonwood Flats. We manage TFN's 170 plus hectares of private nature reserves, participate in many one-off planting events, and assist other naturalist and stewardship organizations in pursuit of their restoration goals. But TFN's always recognized that ecological monitoring and observations, what we nowadays call citizen science, is an equally vital aspect of stewardship. Flip through even just a small sampling of the back issues of our newsletter, and you'll encounter the results of numerous bird counts and bioblitzes, field studies, ravine surveys, and more. And the impact of TFN stewardship activities over the last century has been pretty profound. Thousands of trees that we've planted are still standing all across Toronto. We were instrumental in creating Aggie's wildflower specimen garden outside Lambton House. Our studies of Glendon Ravine wetland were inspirational to the adoption of the ESA designation in Toronto. Our Cottonwood Flats monitoring project, which is now in its 8th year, has helped to inform city and TRC efforts and inspired the creation of the community stewardship program team that we now lead on site. Our reserves protect provincially endangered and at-risk species, including the critically endangered butternut, which TFN is actively planting at our Jim Bailey Reserve. And none of these things that I've just talked about would be possible were it not for our volunteer stewards and citizen scientists, volunteers just like you. Next slide, please. Now, obviously, we need botanists, birders, ecologists, and restoration experts to ensure the highest standards of our efforts. But it's important to say we also need enthusiasts and amateurs, photographers, writers, drivers, canoeists, hikers and number crunchers, carpenters, project managers, ambassadors, and administrators. Stewardship and citizen science is a team effort. And there's lots of room on these teams. So no degrees are required to join, just a willingness to get your hands a little bit dirty helping nature. And the benefits of volunteering for TFN stewardship are many. You make a tangible and meaningful difference to nature in the city. You connect with nature and with your fellow members, increase Torontonians' understanding of urban nature and fuel future research. You have access to wonderful opportunities to be both a teacher and a student. And there's even a little bit of exercise in it for you if you decide to pick up a shovel. So our stewardship committee has put a volunteer sign-up form on our members-only website to help you contact us and let us know the type of activities that you might be most interested in. The URL's on the slide here. And by signing up, you're not committing to anything. We'll simply keep you posted on upcoming opportunities and initiatives, and you can decide to contribute as your interest inspires you or as your schedule permits. So we hope to be speaking to some of you very soon. Spring is almost here, and that's one of the busiest times of year for our stewards. So thanks, and if anybody does have questions, I'm happy to answer them in the minute and 10 seconds I have left. So. All right, Lynn, I think you're free to move on.
Yes, I haven't seen any questions on the in the chat thing yet. No hands are raised. Okay. So our next up is Ellen for Advocacy.
Great, thanks, Lynn. And you can move to the next slide, thanks.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm happy to talk to you this evening. When I retired a few years ago from a career in environmental policy, I wanted to become part of a local nature community. And my thinking was that I really hoped to contribute not just my time and efforts, but also my ideas and experience. And I quickly found that TFN was a welcoming, very human scale place where I could engage on projects, including advocacy. I was amazed that everything TFN does is done by volunteers, everything. So when TFN speaks up for nature at City Hall, we volunteers do the background research on the history of the issue. We volunteers figure out what policies and actions would best serve our local ravines and biodiversity. Again, as volunteers, we craft blogs or speaking points to grow public awareness. We also attend and speak at the committee meetings. We're active in the democratic process. Of course, we always make sure that we have our TFN board of directors, who are also volunteers. We have them on side for whatever approach we take. TFN has a Take Action blog. That's a page on our website. So one of our tasks for the advocacy team is to add new content regularly to share practical ideas on how to protect urban nature. TFN uses Facebook and Instagram to promote and share our blogs online. Our team size varies. Right now we have about 4 members, so that's very human scale. And sometimes it's been just me. We meet monthly by Zoom to agree on what topics to focus on for upcoming months and who can draft what. Usually we meet on a weekday evening, maybe around 5 p.m., usually 1-hour meetings or shorter. So if you have a passion for urban nature and you'd like a voice in better protecting local nature, TFN's advocacy team may be a happy spot for you. Especially if you have research and writing skills, those skills are really helpful. And especially if you know something about managing urban ecosystems and how city departments work, those would be bonus assets, really. We'd also like to have a greater variety of faces representing TFN when we speak up at City Hall, when we do those deputations. If you join our team, initially you may just want to attend a meeting or two to get a feel for our rhythm. And then you might work together with a buddy to draft and polish a blog on a topic. And longer term, once you're comfortable, we'd encourage you to attend City Hall consultations or attend committee meetings and read out a deputation that the TFN team had drafted together. It can really feel satisfying to find yourself speaking before city councilors and sometimes even the mayor on behalf of urban nature. But first, of course, I hope you'll join one of our advocacy Zoom meetings and see what we're up to. Thanks so much.
Hey, thank you. And next up, Anne Purvis is going to talk about the junior naturalists. I don't see any questions for the other. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. So the TFN Juniors is a nature appreciation program for kids aged 6 to 14. It takes place monthly on a Saturday morning from September to June, with the occasional events in the summer as well. The program lasts for 2 hours, and a parent is required to stay with the children from a given family. It takes place in different parks and green spaces around the city, chosen for the theme of the program that week and the wildlife that we might view in that place. For example, we make an annual visit to a park along the waterfront in the winter months to view the Arctic nesting ducks that overwinter in Lake Ontario. And this past year, we visited Colonel Sam Smith, and we actually had 3 of our kids who have been attending for quite some time, and they have become avid birders. I was just blown away that, wow, this is cool. We've been able to support their interest. So I'm really, really happy about that. Or for example, we visited West Highland Creek for stream studies with a guy named Don Scallon, former public school teacher, one September, and had a great time looking at fish and insects the kids caught. So we just visit different sites depending on what theme we would like to pursue. A program for children should be hands-on, discovery-based, and child-centered, and we try to make the TFN Juniors that way. We include all kinds of interactive components, including nature exploration, games, and crafts. It is never just a hike or a discussion. It is always an event. We have indoor programs as well where we do nature-based crafts. So for example, recently, Lynn Short, a wonderful Indigenous leader in Toronto, led us in creating mats and baskets with cattail leaves and shared some Indigenous teaching around nature. So you can see that there's wonderful opportunities for the adults involved to learn cool things as well. So we've been, the TFN Juniors existed from very early on in the history of the TFN, but was rebooted 6 years ago. And we've had many different volunteers help out over these past 6 years. Currently, there are 5 leaders who meet quarterly to plan program. This team is always interested in new members. So we would meet usually once a quarter. And so a person who wanted to join that team would contribute ideas for planning events or suggest activities or parks or programs, even programs that we could join. But you might be someone who likes to run program. You might attend, you might want to attend the monthly program to share nature knowledge or lead games or nature crafts. So this could be on a once-off basis or on an ongoing basis. We really love to take advantage of the rich experience and knowledge of members of the TFN and others outside the community as well. There is also administrative work, keeping up a database of registered and active participants. There's important email communication that goes on with participants. And we like to, we're often invited to contribute to the club's blog so that the wider club knows what's going on, what we're doing. You can see up in the corner on the right that you can basically come as you are. There are resources available to you, including us. We're a great team. We're very supportive. You probably already know more than you think. And the Toronto Biodiversity Guides from the City of Toronto and the online resources will help fill in any gaps. So really welcome you to contribute if you would like to, either on a once-off basis or joining the leadership team, or and probably start out by coming to a couple of events and see how you enjoy it. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm not seeing any questions yet, so let's continue, and back to Ellen for lectures.
Right, yes. So we're going to hear in a few minutes about TFN's wonderful guided nature walks, and those walks let us experience nature firsthand. But often we'd like to better understand the backstories of what we observe and the landscapes that we walk through. And that's where our lecture program can really help. Our guest lectures help us interpret what we observe in nature, and they grow our common understanding. TFN's lectures have been a great way to feed our curiosity, to grow public awareness of nature, and support nature advocacy, almost from the very first days of the TFN 100 years ago. Each year, still, TFN offers 8 free talks by noted experts, exploring everything from ultra-local nature in the city topics to global environmental issues. And we've been using mostly a Zoom format since the pandemic. Our talks are presented Sunday afternoons at 2:30 p.m. and there's always an audience discussion afterwards. We also record our lectures for our YouTube channel, and that means that people can watch them at their own leisure afterwards. Our attendance numbers lately have been up to about 90 viewers live, which is really good, with typically hundreds more viewers that check out the recordings over following months. We found that there is no shortage of talented speakers on relevant nature topics. So our challenge actually is to curate a mix of topics that will appeal to our generalist audience. And so a successful mix might include, you know, you always want to add in some furry animals, some inspiring restoration success stories, and perhaps some emerging findings on topics that are popular, like bird migration. And then our job is to schedule and firm up a good lineup 4 to 6 months in advance, typically. For example, now it's February 2024, and we are sketching out our fall lineup of speakers. So our lecture team meets monthly by Zoom to confirm who does what, and typically we meet weekday evenings. We work out who will invite which speaker for open slots, and we make sure that we get overview blurbs and photos from our speakers in plenty of time so that they can be promoted. And we host the Zoom events, and we write the summary reports for TFN's newsletter. So if you'd like to support growing the public awareness of urban nature, do please consider the lecture team. We're looking for people who are comfortable with organizational details and scheduling, people who are good at inviting and thanking guest speakers so they feel appreciated, and people who are happy with the teamwork in format in a Zoom setting. As a start, you would just attend one of our monthly meetings, and then we would gradually ease you into some of the team tasks that you might be up for doing. It can be really rewarding and fun as a team to help pull together a successful event like a popular lecture. So thanks very much.
Thanks, Ellen. We have a question from June. I think that might be on the juniors. I didn't quite see you in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, sorry, Lynn, I wasn't quick enough. And I was wondering if I was interested in the junior naturalist. Is there some way to sign up, or do I contact you?
Lynn, are you having everyone respond through you, or?
Yes, yeah. I should
Yeah.
have said
Oh,
that at the
okay.
beginning. I'm sorry. Yeah, you would contact me at through volunteering@torontofieldnaturalists.org, and then I can send you to the right place. So
Terrific.
that's true
Yeah.
for all of these things. If you want to volunteer for any of them, or if you want any extra information, contact me, and I'll have that. It's volunteering@torontofieldnaturalists.org, and I have it at the bottom as well.
Okay, thanks,
Oh, that's
Lynn.
exciting, June. I'll look forward to, I'll look for that email.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Oops. Okay, next up we have Wendy for the newsletter.
As editor of TFN newsletter, I work with an associate editor and a team of proofreaders. Our function is to produce a publication for TFN members 8 times a year. The newsletter, available in both electronic and paper formats, is a valuable benefit of TFN membership. Its purposes are to encourage members to participate in TFN activities such as outings and lectures, to help build a sense of community among members, to provide a conduit for members to share knowledge about flora and fauna, to deepen members' appreciation of nature in our city, to inspire members to protect nature through stewardship, advocacy, and wildlife protection, and to showcase members' artistic talents. Excuse me. The most important role in meeting these objectives is played by those who contribute articles, committee reports, book reviews, letters, photos, etc. We encourage TFN members to do this. You don't have to join the newsletter committee to submit content. The committee's function is to bring these submissions together into an attractive, accurate, and well laid out publication. There are 2 primary roles performed by members of the committee: editing and proofreading. Next slide, please. Editors solicit and collect and select content, edit and format text, select illustrations from our photo and art libraries, arrange layout, and create a publisher file. After entering corrections from proofreaders, editors send a PDF to our webmaster for posting on TFN's website and to our printing company to produce the paper version. The final step is to mail newsletters to members who have chosen the hard copy option. This involves printing labels and then, with the help of 1 or 2 volunteers, preparing and stuffing envelopes, a task that takes no more than a couple of hours. Talents required for the editor functions include writing and editing abilities and computer skills, including competence in and access to Microsoft Word and publisher software. Editors' tasks are set out in a procedure manual, which is currently being developed. Editors devote 2 to 4 hours a day during the first half of the month prior to publication. Next slide. Proofreaders receive by email a PDF of the draft document. They do meticulous checking of grammar, spelling, punctuation, font styles and sizes, spacing, layout, and accuracy of information. Then they email recommended corrections to editors. Talents and requirements for the proofreading function are internet access and basic computer skills, a good knowledge of the English language, including spelling, grammar, and punctuation, a critical mind, and attention to detail. Familiarity with scientific terms and the names of flora and fauna is helpful. If you like communicating in writing and are something of a perfectionist, this might be just the role you would enjoy. To ensure consistency throughout the newsletter, we have created a style guide setting out rules about font styles and sizes, spacing, spelling, capitalization, and punctuation. This serves as a useful reference for both editors and proofreaders. For proofreaders, each read-through may take 3 to 4 hours. It is important that the volunteers be available to do this work within a specified 3-day period so that deadlines are met. Whether you submit content or serve on the committee as an editor or proofreader, contributing to the objectives of the newsletter is very rewarding.
Okay, let's see. Not seeing any questions in the chat. Okay, well, let's continue. All right, next up we have Kathy with Outings.
Great, thanks. Next slide, please. So hello, and thanks for joining us this evening. I'm the Outings coordinator, and I'm the main liaison between our volunteer outing leaders and the outing committee. And as many of you know, TFN offers over 100 volunteer guided walks or outings each year. They are one of the most valuable and beloved benefits of membership, and a core means TFN expresses its mission to connect people with nature in the Toronto area and help people understand, enjoy, and protect Toronto's green spaces and the species that inhabit them. So the outing committee's main role is to support our outing leaders and encourage and train new leaders. Note, I'm using the term outing as a broader term that they include walks and other events like sketching trips, project site visits, museum visits, and so on. So we welcome 2 streams of volunteers, those interested in joining the committee and those interested in creating and leading outings. You can do both, as many committee members do. So first, as the slide shows, I'm going to talk about the committee members. So if you've wondered who coordinates the monthly walk schedules and how we find such wonderful leaders and why there isn't a walk about X or in Trail Y, and you are interested in supporting TFN outings, then volunteer with the Outings Committee. We meet monthly on Zoom and hold discussions via email. The volunteer leaders propose walks and outings, and as I said before, our main task is to maintain and coordinate the program of guided outings, support the leaders, and recruit and train new ones. We also train and support shepherds for larger walks. Some of the benefits of the committee work is that you get to help the TFN provide outings to its members. You gain communications and community engagement skills. You gain a better understanding of our green space, And you get to meet other TFN members and our amazing volunteer leaders. Now that's the committee. You can also volunteer as an outing leader or shepherd. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the TFN, we welcome outing leaders who enjoy sharing their passion for nature and built environments and help others gain an appreciation likewise. Leaders encourage the public to participate in protecting and preserving spaces such as our parks and rivers and wetlands. And, oops.
You muted yourself for a second there. Yeah.
Then where should I start again?
The sentence that you were just about to start, because you just muted yourself.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Leaders also help people get outside who might otherwise be hesitant about going on their own. Now, qualified candidates will have knowledge of some topic, a particular trail or birds, or trees, flowers, local history, and so on, and the ability to lead participants to an area of Toronto's parks and ravine system. Training on how to conduct a walk will be provided. Now, some benefits is that it's a creative and sharing opportunity. You learn leadership, communications, and advocacy skills. You gain a better understanding of our environment because you learn best by teaching and sharing your knowledge. And you get to meet the broader membership of the TFN. Now, sometimes if there's a high attendance in a walk, the group gets stretched out and people in the back lose sight of the leader. Shepherds, as the name suggests, help ensure group cohesion and safety. No one gets lost. Shepherds are not required for every walk, but if you attend outings, you might volunteer with our pool of on-call shepherds. Shepherding is also a good way for potential and novice leaders to learn by observing a variety of experienced guides.
We can go to the next one, which is Zunaid for promotions and outreach.
Alrighty. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. So promotions and outreach crosses all of our programming. We are sort of the backbone that helps drive awareness about TFN. Historically, pre-pandemic, we did a lot of this in person, and this year we're looking to get back to doing more of that. We do a lot of digital outreach. We manage all of our social media channels. And we define the audience we want to go after and very specific groups around programs. So not only we increase awareness of the program, but it eventually hopefully leads to increased membership. Next slide, please. So like a lot of our committees, one of the good entry points to get involved if you're limited time of commitment, but you want to help out, is to just join the committee, learn about what we do. So promotions and outreach is looking for committee members to assist us in planning promotions and outreach strategy and events. So figuring out areas of the city we want to target in terms of events and audiences we want to meet. We meet monthly, predominantly during our planning season. When we're in field with events in spring and summer, there's less meeting and we participate predominantly through email discussions. So your basic knowledge of TFN and our mandate and its programs. There's training and knowledge to be acquired on communications, marketing strategy, and planning, and it's about 1 to 3 hours commitment per month. Next slide, please. Since we are starting to do more outreach events, we are looking for a volunteer to help coordinate these. So these are coordinating the events, not the volunteers that would assist us with them. We would meet monthly. Basic knowledge of TFN, good communication skills, and planning. Event planning experience is a plus, but not necessary. The training available would be of our promotion strategy, our history, and our program, and the opportunity to gain organization and community engagement experience and skills. 3 to 5 hours a month. Business period is between April and August. We have 2 events committed to already. Sorry, 3. Earth Day event at Brickworks, Earth Day event at Downsview, and we're at the Bird Festival in Colonel Sam. But I spent a lot of time today going over a number of events that we are potential as well. So we could definitely use the assistance of someone coordinating with the logistics of those. Next slide, please. Now, this role crosses, you've seen a number of slides where committees have talked about writing blog posts or putting up content. So this role would cover work for all committees and cross with our digital team. So we're looking for people to help us update both the public website, so putting up blog posts written by committees, putting up our public walks, putting up information about lectures, as well as how we promote those on social media, Facebook and Instagram. Again, you would participate in the monthly meetings, basic knowledge of TFN, good communication skills, familiarity with social media platforms would be helpful, and some content editing. There is training available on the tools we use. Our content management system for our websites is WordPress. Everything for Facebook and Instagram is managed through Meta's Business Manager. We also publish the content from the lectures, so there's opportunity to be trained on YouTube's content editor. And then occasionally we make infographics for promotion, and so there's training available on Canva. It's heavy task oriented, but it's a limited amount of time per month, 4 to 5 hours. Next slide, I think that's it.
Yes. Okay, just looking for questions here. And okay, I'm not seeing any, so go to the next one, which is me. So my name is Lynn Miller, and I am the team leader of the Wildlife Protection Group. And this group was formed as a result of the bad behavior that we were seeing towards wildlife that increased during the pandemic, with more people going into green spaces. There are many pressures on wildlife, and I have a list of some of them here, but the ones that this group is trying to address are ones that are under an individual's control, so an individual's own behavior, and that's basically the last 3 on this list. Those are the ones that we're really working towards. And what we're trying to do is to educate people on ethical behavior towards wildlife. So we're working with the concept that people don't want to stress wildlife, they just don't know what the results of their actions are. So if we let them know that what they're doing is harmful, then they'll stop it. So that's kind of the basics. So we're just trying to get the word out there, and we're doing that currently through some guided walks, presentations to nature groups and photography groups, social media posts. We would like to do more, but we are restricted by the number of volunteers. And yeah, so we need volunteers to do like everything. So you know, designing a web page, artwork for the social media, for flyers, sharing social media posts, being a liaison to another nature group if you're part of another nature group, and we can work together, presenting to other groups, whether that's photography or other nature groups or other outdoor groups. We do staffing of tables, like Zunaid was talking about the piano. The Wildlife Protection Group does staffing there, so we can push that message out at the same time. We write articles for print, and just generating ideas. If you have an idea of something that you would like to, that you think this group could do, we're all ears for that. We have some resources available of what we've been doing so far. We have a couple PowerPoints ready to present. We have some writing guides, but mostly our training is mentoring. So for instance, if you went out to an outreach table, we would pair you with somebody who's done that before, so that, you know, they can show you the ropes. But yeah, so we'd like to do more, and the only thing really preventing us from getting the word out there more is a lack of volunteers. So if you'd like to volunteer, yeah, please contact me. And let's see. Not seeing any questions. Okay. And back to Jason for digital.
You can advance to the next slide. So our digital team touches just about every aspect of TFN. We develop and manage our main website, our members only website, our newsletter website, and all of the systems that allow people to become TFN members. We also maintain all of our digital archives. So that's about 700 issues of the digital newsletter, 12,000 photographs in a photo library. And primarily, the other main task we tackle is supporting and consulting with all of TFN's various committees and groups. As both Lynn and Zineid recently mentioned, many of our TFN groups publish directly to social and web themselves, but we're there to help fill in the blanks when it's necessary, work with them to achieve unusual or more sophisticated goals, answer questions, offer training, that kind of stuff. Essentially, if you've used a computer, tablet, or a smartphone to engage with TFN, then you've encountered the work of the digital team. Now, you might be thinking to yourself that you're not techie or you're not computer savvy enough to help out here. And I really need to dispel this by saying that, you know, one of our team's greatest bottlenecks is how much time those of us who are techie and are computer savvy spend doing completely non-technical things. So if you can write, we need articles, essays, summaries of past newsletters and the like. Do you like photography? Well, we need help organizing photos by subject and location and make it easier to find them when they're needed. Do you surf the web? Well, we need folks that periodically check our website to make sure there's no stale or out of date content and generally make sure everything's fresh and working as expected. Are you colorblind or do you have difficulty with fine motor skills? Your feedback will let us help better understand the experiences of people in similar circumstances, ensure that our websites are as accessible and as easy to use as possible. And there are also many specialized activities that only require one very specific skill or sometimes just the ability to follow directions. And this includes things like, you know, posting upcoming lectures or public walks announcements or lecture recordings, helping the PDF or, you know, helping to post the PDF of the latest newsletter, helping with project coordination. So making sure that everybody has the answers and materials that they need to complete the tasks on their plate. Do you know how to edit videos? Well, we could really use some help there. Are you an art director or a graphic designer? Virtually all of our efforts could be improved by your involvement. Do you know how to resize photographs or understand the difference between a JPEG and a PNG? We could use your help as well. Volunteering with the digital team is fun, rewarding, and quite meaningful. You're a part of the public face and voice of TFN. You get to connect with fellow members from all across the organization. Tasks can be done from your home according to your own schedule. And it can also be a really great opportunity to gain new knowledge and new skills if you wish. We're more than happy to mentor and support people as they grow. Next slide, please. Now, all of that said, we do have a urgent and critical need for experienced WordPress and PHP developers to help with things like supporting and developing our membership and e-commerce systems and creating new site features and functionalities. So if the words on the slide you're looking at right now are meaningful to you, then please reach out as we could really, really use your help. And if you're not in a position to help yourself, well, maybe there's someone in your social circle who might be. So please encourage your friends or any of the geeks in your neighborhood to consider volunteering because we'll take all the help that we can get. Thanks.
Okay. Let's see. I think that is our last presentation. So at this point, we can open it up to questions for any of the people who have presented, either on a specific position or just on volunteering in general and what it's like to volunteer for the TFN. Basically, any question you want. Again, either putting your question into the chat area or using the raise hand feature. And I'll give a second or two to see if what we got.
Can you stop the share for a second there?
Oh, right. That would be useful, wouldn't it? Okay, Shabby, you have a question? And you're muted.
Hi, I'm sorry. I just wanted to know, you said to send you an email, or do we fill in the volunteer forms that I found on the newsletter?
The anything that we just talked about here, you can send me email volunteering@torontofieldnaturalist.org. If you're talking about the form for the stewardship, you could fill that in directly off the website.
And then we don't have to email you, we just fill in those forms.
You don't have to email me because it'll come to me.
Oh, okay, all right, got it. All right, thank you.
Okay, we have a question in the chat. For advocacy and the lectures group, do we contact Ellen directly? And Kathy has put my email in there. So if you contact, I'm the volunteer coordinator. I should have said that at the very beginning. I'm the volunteer coordinator for the TFN. So if you contact me about any of the positions, then I'll make sure it gets to the right person through the right email. And that we get you connected to somebody. So yeah, so the email is in the chat right now. Just looking for some other questions. Does any of the panel members just want to state how much fun they have volunteering?
Oh, I will, because I've
You
volunteered.
got another chat question.
Okay.
I think I've volunteered for everyone except the newsletter. Well, actually, I write articles for the newsletter. And I will just quickly say I have never, ever had a bad time volunteering for TFN, whether it's been with walks or lectures or stewardship or junior naturalists. It is always a great time.
Oh, Jason, you can answer the stewardship question in the chat about hours.
Yeah, stewardship.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that really depends, Kate, it really depends on what you're interested in doing. We have lots of different programs, and depending on what role you wanted to play or what you wanted to participate in, some take a little longer than others. But I mean, generally we fit to your schedule, and we're super appreciative for all of our volunteers. So just to put that into a quick context, our stewardship team meets every second Tuesday in Cottonwood Flats for 2 hours, but you don't have to come to every event. Same thing, our Cottonwood Flats monitoring project, most sessions are 2 hours. We do 5 sessions a year, but you don't have to come to you don't have to come to every session, just volunteer for 1 or 2. So it really scales up or down depending on your interest and enthusiasm, not so much about the specific stuff we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Ellen's hand is up.
Yes.
Yeah, and really just to say that as a volunteer, what I've experienced at TFN is that it really is very much a team feeling, you know, because there are no staff. There's no sense that there's somebody up there that has these little slots for volunteers. There's just a lot of opportunity for people to discuss things and to say, well, let's try this. there's a freedom. I see nodding heads around, around the table too on that, that there's this sense that yeah, we're working things out together and we're willing to try new things. And so it's a real peer kind of experience. And that's really nice.
Yeah, I would also say that, so my first volunteer thing with TFN was the newsletter. And I was blown away about how Wendy's team, like the awesome, I didn't end up staying for very long, but it gave me a great insight into how TFN operates. And then Jason recruited me for the board, and that really opened my eyes. But to me, one of the most fascinating things is the ability to acquire knowledge beyond knowledge of nature by interacting with the variety. There's a lot of learning opportunities. And it is just you get a sense it's a really great community, and there's a lot of opportunities to grow and learn. And some things are task oriented. They don't have to be really long. There's multiple ways in which people can interact. And it's just quite fascinating that you have an organization that's existed for 100 years based on volunteers alone. I think that speaks to the level of commitment that people are willing to put forward. And it can be extremely rewarding to see how those efforts translate into things that are like actual city policy. Our ravine strategy as exists today, there are paragraphs that are word for word based on TFN's contributions via advocacy to that strategy. So that can be really rewarding if that's something you want to, see tangible efforts of your hour or 2 hours a month where you're contributing to discussion on topics relevant to protecting our green spaces in the urban environment, which are even under greater pressure. And you can do those in really, really small tasks, and they all add up to ensuring that we're able to provide this programming both to members, but also the stuff we do for the public. There's another stewardship question in the chat.
Yes, Jason, is there stewardship opportunities that happen outside the typical work week or business hours?
Yeah, absolutely. Most of our stewardship events, while our community stewardship program events are timed to be every Tuesday, pretty much everything else we always take into account that some people prefer mornings, some people prefer evenings, some people prefer weekends. So we try and distribute all of our stewardship events as liberally as possible outside of working hours and weekdays, because obviously Saturday and Sundays you usually get much better attendance. So yeah, it's absolutely worth reaching out to us. And as I said, we'll tell you about the specific opportunities based on what you're interested in and keep you posted. If there's a one-off event coming up or something like that, then we'll keep you in the loop for future events and whatever else as well.
Thank you. Okay, the question is it all right to express interest in volunteering for multiple teams, or is it better to choose just one?
Hell yes. Sorry.
Yes.
Did I jump on that too quickly?
Go for it.
Yeah, you can definitely have interest in multiple teams. There are a number of people who do serve on multiple teams. It really depends on how much time you have. And especially if you're just thinking about volunteering, attending meetings of different teams will give you a better chance of a better understanding of what each does. And so that you can pick the one or two that that you really want to be part of. Kathy, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, and I would just encourage anybody who's here to if you have even a little inkling of I'd like to tell people about X, or I have a vague idea of what might be a good walk. Come talk to us, or consider coming to the workshop, because you don't have to be an expert, and we will give you suggestions and help you and support you to create a walk. And people are very welcoming the participants, as you probably know, because you've probably attended walks. And it's always possible to just call on somebody during the walk who might have something to say about a particular thing that you're looking at. So don't feel intimidated. Even if you just have a faint idea and you'd like to test it out, come talk to us, or come attend the workshop and see what goes into making a walk happen. Thanks.
Yeah, quick follow-up on that. So when I first joined TFN, Jason went to great lengths to convince me to lead walks, and I refused because I said, all of these nature nerds are going to freak me out. I'm not going to be able to lead a walk with these people. So they know so much stuff about botany and birds. And I just left 20 years in tech, and all I know is how to work a camera. And he said, well, start with a photography walk. So finally I caved, and I did a walk on the waterfront. And for folks who know him, Charles Bruce Thompson showed up on my walk, and I was nervous as hell because he's a past president and he does tons of walks. And I was stunned to discover that I showed him some bird behavior he had never seen before, and I showed him places on the waterfront he had never been. So don't just assume that like there's things where you could lead a walk that you're not going to have some knowledge. There's a favorite walk you do that we maybe have never done a walk on. There's Bruce. I showed him the flume ride at Ontario Place, which unfortunately we can't see anymore. That was taken over by birds. So, there could be a favorite walk you go on that we haven't done a walk on. And it's also a collaborative exercise, TFN walks. They're like this, people have a passion about something and they share it on the walk. So they're collaborative experiences and they're quite enjoyable. You do not have to register for walks. You just show up. I saw a question there.
There was a question in the chat. Yeah.
Jason has his.
Jason, yes.
I just quickly wanted to add to what both Kathy and Sinead have said. I mean, as I said earlier, there's literally no group within TFN I haven't volunteered for, and I am rarely the smartest person in the room when this is going on. In stewardship, if you've never picked up a shovel before, we're there. We provide you with training. And same thing with our Cottonwood Flats monitoring project. We're there. We can make use of you and teach you and mentor you in these, in these regards as well. I've written articles for the newsletter that literally were about Halloween plants. They weren't about botany at all. Lectures, I, helped choose what sounded like good lectures to me. So all of these volunteer opportunities really do have the room and the availability for people who don't feel that they can confidently contribute and don't feel that that is this a right fit for me, and am I going to be accepted? Absolutely trust me that every single group who is presented tonight has more than enough room and patience and skill to find something that works for you, to help you be a part of that community, to grow into different waters and to test different waters. So don't let feeling shy or feeling inexperienced get in the way of engaging in something that really could be a great positive thing in your life.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had just a follow-up on like welcoming. We did a walk in the photography walk in Tommy, and a couple of international visitors approached us and were asking us about birds in the park. So we gave them a tip, and then Bruce was leading a walk, I think the next couple of days in there, and it was a public walk. So we told them to check it out. That guy's he's like some big birder from South America, and he was raving on Instagram about how welcoming TFN was on a walk he attended. But it's a typical example of TFN as a whole, as a community. They we don't put up barriers. So there's lots of things for the people who are willing to help us can have an opportunity to try.
Okay, well,
And
we're
Bruce is a funny guy, so that helps too.
we're out of time. But yeah, I guess in closing, I just want to say that I was a member actually for far too long before I realized that Toronto Field Naturalist is an all-volunteer group. So so I hope that everyone who's here has found something that interests them and that they might want to try, and that we can get some more people into the TFN fold. Nope, we got just some nice thank yous coming through the chat. So with that, we'll say goodbye, and I'll stop the recording.
Thanks, Lynn.